understood the silent protest by guys taking a knee, okay? But they weren't involved in that. But now all of a sudden they're involved in something that maybe mentally, well, wait a minute.
Is there another way to go about it, too? Isn't there another way to just step away from the national anthem?
Which is a shame.
Yeah, because you have to remember, to Josina's point, these guys aren't a fantasy team. They're not a video game. They're human beings who play football, and whether they play for your favorite team or not, they do have emotions they're dealing with, and quite frankly, this is something that is very concerning to them. Thanks for the perspective. Yeah, it's real life.
And now here,
thanks a lot.
Week 4 kicks off tomorrow.
Week 4,
yeah,
it counts.
Yeah. Thank you both.
Josina Anderson and our resident coach, Herm Edwards. Josina, we always start with the ladies, right? Odell Beckham, you know him well. You've spent a lot of time around him. You've interviewed him several times. What more can you tell us about his current situation there with the Giants and maybe even some of the players in that locker room?
Well, there have been a lot of headlines, in particular.
Mark Spears, LZ Granderson, here to talk about what is going on in the NBA. And obviously, it's media day. So you guys will hang out with me for a couple of hours.
Then go see your Lakers.
We'll hang out a couple hours, though, right?
All right, so,
Mark, I'll start with you first. Isaiah coming back end of 2017. What does that say to you? How does that position this team?
Well,
I want to ask you, we were waiting for LeBron to speak. And I don't know if you guys noticed, he was tweeting this weekend.
Was he? Had
a few things to say. Okay. Elsie, I wanted to get your take on what you thought with LeBron calling the president a bum. And I'm pretty sure when he speaks, I'm pretty sure the media is going to ask him about that. Let's talk about the Warriors. Again, we mentioned earlier, Mark, you were there with the Warriors this weekend when the president tweeted at Steph. And Steph was very clear. He said, I don't know why he chooses to attack certain individuals. When we have media day, right? And I think a lot of the questions, obviously we'll talk about what happened this weekend, but I think that something that's been missing and that we haven't really discussed, a person who's also been in the midst of these conversations is one Carmelo Anthony. Did we lose focus? Did we forget all about him?
Right.
Did we forget Ron, right?
Yes.
Growing up together?
Growing up together, exactly right. Same hometown.
Yeah, so I mean, none of this surprises you probably with what his take might be. What would you do if you're in his shoes? If you're still coaching this league right now with everything that's going on, what do you say to your guys?
Well, it's about the team. And when you rewind the clock and you go back to the beginning of this in Colin Kaepernick, you know, he took a knee to bring it. They looked at it different ways. And I think if you're a player in the National Football League now, you're a little bit torn. There's a lot of guys that would prefer to stand up for the national anthem. I would be one of those, to be quite honest. My father was in the Army.
Because it seems like there's pressure on others to do what the rest of what if you don't agree? Well, and that's okay if you don't agree, isn't it?
Yeah, it's okay. And that's what America's about. The field before the game's being played, and how do we deal with the national anthem? That was the last thing on any
So you tell them, you do you, basically. You take care of you. It doesn't need to be all of us doing this, right?
No, and you know, what is the league going to do? Is the league going to decide?
That's it for the moment. Good perspective, though, Herm. Again, not an easy topic. And if you're the leader of that team, it's a ton of pressure on you.
It's an emotional topic.
Thank you, Herm.
Our NFL experts. We've got Jeff Saturday and Tim Hasselbeck. I want to go back to that Raiders game really quickly, and these numbers are fantastic. So the Redskins' defensive performance, they held Derek Carr to 128 yards total on that offense and sacked him 4 times, forced a couple interceptions as well. I'll start with you, Tim. What did you see from that side of the ball yesterday?
Well, the biggest thing for that Redskins front is they just absolutely dominated.
Fired that team.
Got them a little fired up.
Got them a little fired up. So we take a look at the NFC East right now. You have Washington and Philly both at 2-1. Cowboys trying to get to 2-1 later tonight. Tim, who is
they're using? So, again, Tim's right. This is tough to call early in the season, but I'm going to lean towards the Eagles
Good job sneaking the good job. A little center love in there. Good job sneaking it in.
You got the love for the centers, but I imagine no one's got any love for the refs. Shocker, especially after what we saw happen with the Lions and the Falcons. The rules are the rules, right? And Tim, I want you, because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
First of all, the call itself, do you think that he was down?
Snapped on third down. They don't get it. You know, they would receive the benefit of the clock being stopped in order to run a play on fourth down. And
the whole time, okay, everyone's just assuming they would have been able to jump up in time and been able to run a play with, what, 8-9 seconds left on the clock anyway.
Right. Yeah, you still give yourself a shot, right? I mean, it's tough. Situational football.
Do anything fast?
For real.
Center?
It takes a little bit.
There's them a long time.
The fallout from that game going forward, the Falcons and the Chiefs, the only 2 unbeaten teams remaining in the NFL. These guys come back a little bit later. We are just getting started here on this